of a one-bedroom apartment shall be 650 square feet. The minimum heated square footage of a two-bedroom apartment shall be 1,100 square feet. The minimum heated square footage of a three-bedroom apartment shall be 1,500 square feet. Before I move on, do we have any questions about that particular amendment?
What is the current square footage?
1,500, and that's the size of an RA minimum house. So right now, 1, 2, and 3 bedroom apartments would have to be 1,500 square feet, and that's just kind of ridiculous.
So you're changing the 1 and 2 bedrooms, but
Yes,
leaving
ma'am.
the 3 bedrooms to 1,500.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, moving on.
Can I ask a question? How did you come up with the 650 square footage for a 1 bedroom?
We looked at some previous rezonings for mixed-use buildings, and they were typically around that size. So we just decided to. It was actually 600, but we just decided to bump it up to 650 for 1 bedroom. South City development on Jonesboro Road is similar to these numbers.
Yeah, I have a problem with the square footage
Yes, ma'am.
of the 1 and 2 bedrooms.
Okay,
I think it's too small.
all right. Moving on.
Commissioner Thomas, did you have a question or statement?
Oh, I concur, especially with the 1 bedroom, maybe 750, but 650, I was trying to put in my mindset, especially if there was a senior or someone that needs to move around, maybe some type of disabilities and what have you, they need just a little bit more space. So I had more concern with that 1 bedroom, maybe get at least to 750, but the other 2 should be okay, the 1,100 and 1,500.
Okay, so if you want to make that a motion towards the end, we can do that, and it wouldn't be an issue.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry.
He's
Oh,
not
I'm
finished.
sorry.
We have 3 more amendments. I just want,
He got 3 more things.
they're kind of dense.
Okay,
Okay,
go
so
ahead.
the next amendment is for 4.05.02, boundaries of the Highway Corridor Overlay District. Staff is proposing to add properties along, to add the properties along both the Western Parallel Connector and Patrick Henry Parkway. Here's where the proposed Western Parallel Connector is, and here's Patrick Henry Parkway. It's kind of hard to see, but they're hashed in blue. The properties that are hashed in blue on our maps are Highway Corridor. So we're just proposing to add these properties to Highway Corridor because we see some development coming in soon. Ma'am. So basically these parcels, we're going to add them to Highway Corridor so they have those more strict Highway Corridor standards.
And those standards are.
Okay, so basically typical Highway Corridor standards is like facade elements, brick, stone, stucco, sidewalks, 10-foot sidewalks, street trees, basically just to make the highway uniform,
Okay.
correct. Okay, moving on to the next one. This next amendment removes certain parking requirements for the overlay. Staff has found that these standards are more appropriate for specific sensitive environmental areas rather than an overlay throughout the entire county. The proposed sections to be removed are red line on this slide. Typically, these standards, they're just not really necessary. We barely bump into them, and they were a good shot for the first, for the highway corridor, but we've just found out over the years that they're just not necessary. And the last amendment.
Can you go back to that slide? I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, moving on. Last one. Section 4.05.06B, prohibited uses. This final amendment updates the prohibited uses within the overlay. Staff is suggesting adding vehicle sales, new and used, to the prohibited sections, which would basically mean they're not allowed within highway corridor, and specifying the car wash use. Currently, car washes are permitted within the overlay, but staff wants to clarify that the car washes need to be the primary business and within a commercial business, commercial building. So this accomplishes that in the red lines. Staff recommends approval of all of the all of the amendments presented, as they will make the ULDC and the Highway Corridor Overlay District more efficient. And again, we're happy to change anything around if it's not too complicated. And I would be happy to take any questions.
Okay, Commissioner Clemens has a
Go
question.
back to, the Western Parallel. So Sherry, I wanted to know, and I'm asking you just because you know this stuff backwards and forwards. In the highway overlay, in the Western Parallel Connector, if we put this in the highway corridor and then we say no, car lots, new or used, I'm okay with used, but let's say, like, if you go down 75, you see car lots on that 75. I think that may limit something in that Western Parallel Connector, considering that's gonna be a 4-lane coming up. So I don't know if they would be able to come back with conditions for that, but I think that we need to do something as to not, limit that highway corridor, the Western Parallel Corridor. The other thing is that if we're gonna do this with the highway corridor, would this be an appropriate time to make the Western Parallel Connector more mixed-use, multifamily? Can we add this into this now, because we have those restrictions in there?
So I believe that would have to be a comp plan amendment, because we would have to amend the land use map designation to change it to mixed use. Now, the only other thing, and Kamau, help me here, we may be able to add a provision that mixed use like developments will be permissible, but it still would have to be consistent with the future land use map.
So it is, and I think, Toussaint, can you come up and speak about that? It designates that for the future land use map, and so Toussaint has said over and over, we've got something in place where if it's already designated as that, it states that, but I would rather put it in writing.
Absolutely.
I think the cleanest way to do that is to come back with a comp plan amendment for that area to change the future land use.
But that's what I'm saying, should this not be in here now, then we need to do it all together, because we're changing this. And board, we're talking about that Western Parallel Connector. If we limit what can go there, then you're gonna have a 4-lane road going up on the side of 75 where you can't put big office buildings. Or we had an issue with Costco, who they need this type of, so we need to make this Western Parallel mixed use,
So
mixed
most
use.
of what we're trying to add in now is mixed use on the future land use map. There may be 1 or 2 parcels that's not, but we can make that as a part of this motion to include more mixed use, mixed use, can't think of the word right now. Uses, mixed use uses in that area. So we can make that.
Mixed use usage in the
Uses.
Western Parallel Connector is permitted.
Yes, and that's, the overlay allows us much flexibility as
Based
well.
on what guidelines, because we don't want,
The guidelines that they have for, they talked about this apartments or whatever they put in there.
So we can remove the new vehicle, we can take that use out as being prohibited. And then anything else, the overlay allows us flexibility to deal with the developer as they come in as well. So if we're looking for mixed use, we can make that work. Again, I'm not sure right now off the top, but I know the Costco was mixed use, and then the pieces to the left, that's pretty, about 30 acres or so, it's also mixed use on the future land use map. So it's
And the
workable.
Highway overlay corridor says no, like the square feet of building size was limited. So that means if somebody
104.
wanted to come in the Costco's or Sam's or whatever is,
So
this would prohibit it
So-
based on this.
this right here now.
Yep.
No. So the overlay says 149,000, 150,000 square feet. So the Costco came in right at like 148. So we were able to work with them to make that building work. So again, it's just,
Well, I would like to see them both together, because we're saying one thing on the map and then we're saying something else over here.
Okay.
And it needs to work together.
So what I would suggest is, if you make a motion, to this particular amendment, let's leave this one out for now, and then we'll fine tune the Patrick Henry Parkway and the Western Parallel Connector at another date.
Because we don't want to add this in.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Sherry.
Right, because we legally need to advertise that because
Yeah.
it's a comp plan amendment.
Yeah.
So what we can do is check for the next available meeting. Let's go ahead and it'll be board initiated, so we won't have to go to, let's just bring it straight to the board if we can do that. But I agree, I think you're gonna run into some issues with specifically, you know, when you start talking about a Costco, Trader Joe's, they have specific specifications. And what I'd like to do is allow staff to at least review them, and then if we know that we've got to work with them, that's what we're going to do. I mean, that's economic development. We're going to make sure that we do get those in. But you're right, Costco ran into a lot of issues in terms of what they could and could not do. And we don't want this to be intended to be so restrictive, but you have a corridor that's facing 75 that you know that you're going to have economic development along that corridor. So we can definitely make those changes and then bring it back to the board.
And just for the board, what we ran into is that those big box or large companies like that, they want to see residential around them. They want to see high density around them. This would limit that in that whole Western Parallel Connector. So we need to make sure that we don't put the Western Parallel Connector in this. Then we say it's going to just be land there.
Yeah, it needs to be mixed use.
It will be 1, 3, and 4.
Okay, so the motion would need to be for amendments 1, 3, and 4.
And to amend
We need
1,
to amend the one on the
Yeah.
apartments, because I'm with
The
Commissioner
750,
Thomas,
yeah,
I just think
right.
6.
Just table it and bring it, can we just table it and
Okay.
bring it back?
Okay.
Yeah, okay, all right.
Madam Chair, I'd like
Can we
make a
table it
motion.
to a date specific?
I'd like to make a motion that we table this to our first meeting in April.
Okay, all right, sure.
all right, thank you for your time.
I'm sorry. Oh, okay, so, we need a motion and a second, all in favor? Motion carries. So next is the ordinance of Henry County to amend the Henry County Code of Ordinances.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Vice Chair, Commissioners. Hopefully everyone had a chance to look through the commercial vehicle ordinance, or better known as the truck ordinance. All right, so the Henry County Code of Ordinance does not currently regulate parking, keeping, or storing of commercial vehicles. The proposed amendment to the code will provide regulation of the prohibition and allowances for the parking, storing, and keeping of commercial vehicles here in Henry County. The ordinance will establish and clarify the following: definitions for commercial and agricultural purpose vehicles and equipment, allowances for specified agricultural vehicles and equipment in certain residential areas, regulation for parking and overnight parking, keeping or storing of commercial vehicles in non-residential areas, and penalties for violations to the ordinance. With that said, planning and zoning staff has recommended approval of the changes. Excuse me. Do you have any questions?
Questions or comments with regards to this ordinance? Okay, can I get a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Got a motion, can I get a second? Can I get a second? Okay. If there's no further discussion, all in favor? Motion carries. Next is the ordinance of Henry County to amend the Unified Land Development Code of Ordinance regarding the regulation of parking. Is that the same thing, or is that a different?
It's a little different.
Okay.
So basically, right now, the ULDC only regulates parking, keeping, or storage of commercial vehicles in residentially zoned areas. The ULDC will now mirror the Henry County Code that we just adopted. So essentially, they will be go hand in hand, and code enforcement will now be able to, have some teeth when they go out and deal with these commercial vehicles as they're parked overnight or what have you. So it's basically the same code. We're just adding a reference to the Henry County Code in ULDC.
Okay, any questions? Get a motion?
Move to approve.
Motion, can I get a second? Second by Commissioner Holmes, all in favor?
All right,
Okay,
thank you.
motion carries.
Madam Chair, may I interrupt real quick? You need to go back to the item that we tabled because we did not call for a public hearing and we did have an individual that was present that wanted to make public comments. And so while the board still can table it, because we advertise it as a public hearing, we do need to call for a public hearing.
Okay, all right, then, great.
Thank you,
So,
sorry about that.
This is a public hearing. Anyone wishing to come to speak in favor?
And then, Chair Harrell, the one that Mr. Kirk just presented, we need to open it up for a public hearing as well.
Okay.
So we'll go back to the previous one and then we'll come back to Mr. Kirk's. Sorry about that.
So we're going to the first one.
Yes, sir. ULDC Amendment 22-01. We'll just
Okay.
open it up for a public hearing.
Okay. So is there someone that'd like to come and speak in favor of it?
Hello, Commissioners. Thank you. I was here. I didn't realize. I've never done this before, so that was my cue to come over here earlier. Yes, my name is.
I'm sorry, Chair Harrell, I apologize. This individual was here for the public hearing for RZ 21-26 that Commissioner Thomas made the motion on. And I believe when you call for those in opposition, he didn't come forward for the opposition or in favor.
In favor. Yes.
In opposition.
Position,
And he
and
failed
no
to come
one
forward.
came forward.
Yes, I apologize. But we still need to open it up for the public hearing
Okay.
for the other items. So
All right.
if the board so chooses, you all can certainly allow him to speak. If not, the matter has been voted on.
Okay, all right, go ahead, sir.
The only thing I wanted to request was these 4 houses are going into a neighborhood where maximum square footage is no more than 1,500, and on the approval it says 2,500, and I was requesting it to be 1,600 square feet, which is still larger than the current homes in that area. That's the only thing I wanted to add.
So the subdivisions around the area, they are roughly 1,500 square feet minimum house. 2,500 is a little steep. So if we wanted to lower it, we can. If not, then we just move on with the original motion.
This is Commissioner Thomas's district, so Commissioner Thomas, I'll push it over to you.
Thank you, Chair Harrell. I'm going to follow planning and zoning, as he stated, they have done the work and know that it's there. And if that's what the subdivisions in the areas are
They're 15,
averaging at,
They're averaging at 1,500.
okay, and he's requesting 1,600?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I have no problem with that, Chair Harrell. These are 1, 2, 3, 4 houses, so I don't have a lot of problems with that at all. So we're welcome to amend the approval that the homes may be 1,600 square feet of heated space.
Okay, so then we need to go back and rescind that motion, and,
As to RZ 21-26, someone needs to make a motion to reconsider.
yeah, they're small, it's small houses. Okay,
Once the
so-
motion-
So Commissioner, so do we need to rescind the motion that we?
You can
appro-
reconsider the motion. Once the motion, you vote to reconsider the motion, and that to reconsider is passed, then you can re-vote, or rather, whatever motion you want to make at that point. So you can pass a motion to
Okay.
amend or what have you.
So
So first,
reconsider.
if you can make a motion for reconsideration.
I'd like a motion for reconsideration of, I've forgotten the number,
RZ 21-26.
thank you, and have,
Z 21 dash, okay, that's 26, okay, all right. I'm
I'd like to
confused.
make a motion to rescind the approval of that motion as previously done.
To,
That's fine. Someone just needs
Okay.
to second it.
okay, somebody needs to second.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Okay, now,
And now you can make whatever.
I'd
motion
like
you
to make a motion for approval of RZ 21-26, allowing the homes to be a minimum of 1,600 square feet of heated space.
okay, so we got a motion.
Yes.
Can we get a second by Commissioner Clemens. No discussion, all in favor? Motion carries.
Thank you, Commissioners.
You're welcome. Okay. So where are we now?
So now we need to go to ULDC AM 22-01 and just call for any public comments regarding that matter.
So is there anyone here that would like to speak in favor or in opposition of this ordinance? Okay, hearing none.
And then we'll go to the two that Mr. Kirk presented, and just call
Okay.
for a public hearing for those two items.
Okay, so you're finished with your presentation. This is a public hearing. Anyone here wishing to speak in favor or opposition of either one of these ordinances? None? Okay. We've already had the vote. Stephanie, is anyone here for public comments? Okay. We need to get an approval of the minutes from the February 1st board meeting. Get a motion? Motion from D. Second from D2, D3, and D2. All in favor? Motion carries. Our upcoming meetings is March 15th, 2022 at 6:30 p.m. is our regular BOC. April 5th, 2022, 9 a.m. regular BOC. I need to get a motion to go in executive session to talk about property acquisition and a personnel matter. We will not be talking about litigation. Can I get a motion to go in executive session?
So moved.
Okay, can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, we're going to revene to executive session.
go big or go home, that's all.
Well, I like that. They get a benefit from that. Right there. Go big. Gotta leave Henry County go big or go home.
Yeah.
I'll see you later.
All right.
He goes, is it ethical? Yes. He goes. Just like it fuck with Garrett, do cases out in the county. He's like, that's fucked. He said it's legal, but it's fucked up. But me, for a cop for a fiesta. And they called me, one of our people on it, said always had, good rapport with Henry County, I know you guys are all well trained, you're well respected. He says others know we're doing it because they've been asking since. They're doing another department, but they came to me. So, yeah, we've done county shit for years, but this is a full-time position. What's going to it?
Hey, you gonna be here?
It's like
Till they get out? You do me a favor and you take 7 on the text message. Okay, cool, thanks, sir. Appreciate it.
A choice. 2,500 off. Or in the
How you like playing the game?
being old enough.
Even though you play
So we're just gonna
good with the,
do the number one.
you still lost. You know what I'm saying? So it's still like,
Oh, Jerry's right. That's it. Yes. By next fiscal year. Said I'm over it. So restructure it, have somebody do it
it's
for a
fine,
week.
I don't even care, what you want? Come on. What? You gonna think about it? So I need to wait till my payday.
Somebody would want to do it. Hire somebody, pay them an extra $10,000 a year.
Rubbing it all. Thick.
Because he's so capable.
Commissioner Wilson, you said go back to, I was like, wait a minute, I'm like, Commissioner Wilson, wait a minute, this was in November? Yeah.
Yep, no problem. I'll find them.
Yeah, hold up, that's what I told him, yeah. He put it in, I said, I love the way he pulled that card out, he pulled out the joke.
But he's not having that issue.
That you didn't know about it all.
So he's a good fit right now.
Oh, yeah.
But
But you know, always in your.
you're not just
Right, and you get yours automatically.
This is the two that could probably get you out of the ticket. That's about it.
Right.
You're right.
Yeah, he pulled out, yeah, he put that wild card, he, yeah, when Commissioner Wilson threw out that wild card, he was like, wait a minute, I ain't know.
trouble, man.
You're good.
No, it's Vince good. Vince is good. That's like I sit here, don't read the resolution.
You have to read it publicly?
They don't, they just gonna say unemployed. They don't wanna see the picture.
No? No.
Bruce gotta read the stuff anyway.
When it comes to that stuff, I tried to show him the shooting, one of the shooting video, when he's like, that was the one where it was a black guy. So he's like, he wants to see it raw, fucking antichrist. Before the person even got shot, he was in tears. I'll call EAP for him. He was fucked up.
I remember
It's
that.
not going the whole 9
Brad was
yards.
like, we wanted to just make him sit there and make him watch.
So make him watch this shit. They're idiots. Now, do you think it's D or is it Bruce doing it? Still wanting to tear fucking it all up there?
So she's the one that needs to be just not the same session. I really wanted to do that.
Okay, so why?
But you don't want to say 35. I want to shoot teenagers. I want if I would be finished. Yeah, everybody else. And I didn't, I said, you know, keep it cool. But I want to make sure I can tell them, you still got your 100,000 there for the chief. Everybody else.
Oh, come out there like, yeah, I do. I make more than 100. And that motherfucker in Stockbridge has 57 employees, makes 140. So maybe this young man should go up to Stockbridge. It's like, I got 800 employees, he has 57.
I told Sherry I wasn't going to that train wreck in Stonecrest. Motherfucking mayor just pleaded guilty to what they was trying to do. 130.
No. 230 would be the most Stonecrest.
You know, we pay up to 143, but we'll offer you 130. Fuck no. Because they don't even really have a real city manager. Some things to me, you know.
You had your chance in public.
Johnny showed his hands in the good way.
I guess it got 1 more percent. But she needs to get out of her mind about the pay compression shit.
This person, one of these constitutional officers, put 50 times.
They didn't get it.
She was not gonna let me off the hook. And she into the record. And I felt all the knives hit. When I read this, I already knew they gonna feel like what the fuck.
So no sheriff, the sheriff, the judge.
Some of them are gonna get ready.
Oh.
Because they're building a house right beside the building.
So they want to fence it on one.
You okay, D?
I'm doing good.
Don't leave us now. That was just the beginning of the dark.
Now, what we
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to reconvene. Okay, can I get a second? Okay, thank you. So I need to make a, I'm sorry. We did.
I got the first and second. Did you all?
Okay, all right, all in favor? Executive session, and we are going to, need a motion to, approve the purchase agreement for 717 Oak Grove Road, McDonough. Can I get a motion? Motion from Commissioner Thomas, second from Commissioner England. If there's no discussion, all in favor? Motion carries. The second item was a personnel issue, or personnel matter. And get a motion to approve what was discussed in executive session and regarding one of our employees in animal control. Motion to approve. The motion to approve from Commissioner England, second from Commissioner Thomas. All in favor? Motion carries. Meeting is adjourned.